What is good, people? King's Vault here. Now, today I want to talk about 4 underrated Pokemon investments that I think people might just be sleeping on and they might just end up regretting it. Now, we are in a crazy bullish market right now. Everything feels like it's literally through the roof in terms of pricing, but there is still good opportunities out there. Let me know if you agree with my picks and any I might have missed as we go through them. Let's jump into it. So let's start with kind of a double set being Black Bolt and White Flare. I really do feel like in this current market, these sets are being heavily overlooked. You just have to take a look at the set list to just realize how incredible they are. A very, very high set value and some really incredible cards. I mean, this Victini, firstly, it being in both sets is a little bit weird, but nonetheless, it's an extremely desirable card. It looks frankly amazing. I've never seen it in real life, but this is about as unique as we've seen in quite a few years with regards to one-of-a-kind Pokemon cards, and there's really nothing else like it out there, really. So that is a selling point in itself. But more importantly, in terms of the conventional hits, we've got the Reshiram, of course, looking at Black Bolt, you've got the Zekrom, and despite them being two different sets, I think they're very, very strong, both of them. But I do feel like because of the crazy market we're in, people kind of are overlooking these sets. You know, minus Prismatic, minus Ascended, this would probably be a focus of a lot of people. But I feel like there's so many good sets out there that things that aren't 10 out of 10, and maybe things like Black Bolt and White Flare that are just in that category below, they really just get overlooked. And that is reflected in the pricing as well. So when we actually look at the set list, and we'll actually get to what the product I'm talking about specifically is in terms of the underrated investment, but looking at the actual cards themselves, so we've got, let's say 3 to 4 good hits, two to three solid hits from each set. But where this set shines, and where it's the same for White Flare and Black Bolt, is the depth, right? The unbelievable depth. Now, in terms of like just pure enjoyment of opening, this set really does have to be up there because there's so many opportunities to pull some awesome cards. As I say, we're not talking ascended levels. We're not talking like 6 or 7 absolute game-changing cards, but we're talking a few strong hits and then a really deep pool in both White Flare and Black Bolt. And I think in a more normal Pokemon market, say this came out in the Sword and Shield era, this would be, I think, as hyped as Ascended. I think this set would be absolutely everything. It's just being overshadowed a little bit. But I do think people will look back very, very favorably on these sets when, I don't know, when nostalgia starts to build up 2 to 3 years, people look back and think, look at the set list. Look how many amazing cards there is in this set. And I do think people are overlooking these products, and naturally that comes with the ETB for both Black Bolt and White Flare being considerably lower than sets like Ascended and sets like Prismatic. You can pick these up for under £100. And to be honest, I think this is actually a really, really good opportunity. If you are put off from putting 160, 170, 180, whatever Prismatic's up to at the moment, and you think Ascended's too new to be ploughing like 130 in for an ETB, then I really feel like Black Bolt and White Flare potentially are being overlooked. And I think something critical to understand is, as I've said, this is a good set, but it doesn't come close in terms of popularity compared to Ascended, compared to Destined, compared to Prismatic. And what that means is, remember, Pokemon are struggling to print anything to demand. Do you think Black Bolt and White Flare are going to be high up that list of priorities for a reprint? I personally think not. So I think there's a very good chance in a couple of years this product dries up and there might not be that much more added to the market. Being able to pick up these ETBs, either of them, for under £100, I think is extremely tempting. I think it's fair to say that these sets are let down by very weak ETB promos. I think it's the Tornadus, yeah, as you can see here, and there's a similarly weak promo in Black Bolt. So that is always going to pull down the value a little bit, but ultimately it's a very good set. And if people are looking to hold this set and they want a displayable, collectible piece for this set, the ETB will be the piece that people buy regardless, remembering that it is a holiday set, so there is no booster box. The ETB, of course, the PC ETB becomes the blue chip for this set, and I think people are overlooking it. In a normal market, £100 still feels a little bit heavy for an under 1-year-old ETB, but you've got to remember the market that we're in, and this set is like 30% less than Ascended, or what, 40% less than Prismatic, and I don't think they're that much worse or worth overlooking in the way that people are. I think these sets have a really, really good long-term future, and that's why I think they're underrated investments. Now, I will say that this list is in no particular order, but these two or one definitely need to be considered as underrated. Now, before I move on, as a new channel, I just wanted to take a moment to say, if you are enjoying this video, if you're getting any value from it, please do drop a like. And of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree with what I've just said there? And let me know what you think about what I'm about to talk on as this video rolls on. So yeah, any support really is appreciated. And of course, subscribe with the notification bell clicked as well. It really does help me out. Okay, so now let's talk about Mega Evolution, which I personally think, we'll talk about the specific product in a minute, but as a set, I think is really being overlooked. We said in Scarlet and Violet base that that could be one of the best base sets ever. I think Mega Evolution once again blows that out of the park. I think it's fair to say Mega Evolution is the best ever Pokemon base set, and naturally I think that will carry a premium. And I think this really is an incredible set. I thought this from the day it came out. I've personally got a reasonable amount in my sealed collection, and I'm really bullish on this set. And I think a lot of people currently are overlooking it because there's so many strong sets out there, sets like this that aren't quite that 10 out of 10. All of a sudden, people overlook, but we know that time fixes these things. And I think on a long enough time scale, Mega Evolution base will be regarded as an extremely strong set. To be honest, I think it's the best booster box set from Mega Evolution so far. Phantasmal is excellent. The top chase is incredible, but it doesn't have as much depth as Mega Evolution does, in my opinion, or Mega Evolution base. So, as I say, we'll move on to the specific product in a moment, but look at that set. We've got two amazing Pokemon as the gold cards. I think these could considerably increase in price. They've come down quite a lot, but I would expect this to be around the bottom. We've got the Mega Gardevoir, another beautiful card. The Mega Lucario looks awesome. Mega Venusaur. So I think you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, you've got some serious cards there. You've got 6 or 7 solid hits, and then you've got depth. You've got a Marshadow with a little Pikachu cameo. Personally, I think, you know, that I do not see this card being worth $13 in, say, 5 years. The Vulpix, incredible card. Even these full arts look awesome. This Steelix looks awesome. I think people are overlooking this set, and I think it's just because there's so much amazing stuff out there. Sets like this don't rise to the top, and people forget about them, right? So that's not to say the booster box is dirt cheap. It's still relatively expensive. I mean, how old is this set now? September 2025. So before, you know, we're getting to a point before you know it, this is going to be a year old. So Mega Evolution is getting there. How old now are we talking? 6, 7 months old. Oh, fuck. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But I think this is a really good buy. I personally have quite a lot in my sealed collection. More specifically, the enhanced booster box. That is certainly worth considering as well. Having that promo in there really does add some value and collectability to the sealed product. But I think at £240, this is less than Phantasmal. I personally still think this is a good buy. I still think this is on the expensive side for a newish booster box, but it just is the market that we're in. It's just as simple as that. This is how it works. And of course, we have to ask the question again. This isn't in the top tier of sets. This isn't running away price-wise. So maybe a reprint isn't really to be expected for this set. And once again, I think it's too solid to overlook. And if it doesn't get a reprint and people continue to not pay it too much attention, I think in a few years, these prices, they could look really appealing. And it's going to be interesting to see how it moves over the next few years. As I say, I have some in my sealed collection, and I think collectors and sealed investors should consider this one as well. Now let's move on to a set. If you've watched a few of my videos on this channel, you know that I am the biggest bag holder of Surgeon Sparks. Well, I'm not. I don't have a crazy collection of it, but in terms of singing the praises of it, I'm definitely one of the most vocal. I've made a few videos talking about this set. This applies to anyone watching, you know, whether you're in the UK, in Europe, in the US. I know this product is even cheaper over in the US when it comes to the booster box. I think Surgeon Sparks is the most overlooked set sort of across the market right now. And I think, one sec, my alarm's going off. Okay, my bad. I think this could be looked back on as an extremely popular set. At the moment, I feel like people don't care too much. It kind of feels like it's plentiful. It's all over the market. And that's kind of reflected in the price. We're seeing around £250 in the UK. And I think it's actually a decent bit less over in the States because they saw so many reprints. Now we have to understand, why is this box so cheap? You know, this box is what, approaching, so we're 2020. So we're 18 months into the release. So Surgeon Sparks is getting old, right? I think we can agree we will not see any more Surgeon Sparks. We've seen an initial print and then multiple reprints off the bat, quite sizable. And that's why it's so cheap, you know, relative to the rest of the market. But we know, right, we have to understand with Pokemon, There's a million rip and shippers tearing packs open all day long. There's people like me and you that want to keep these products sealed. There's people that just like Pokemon and they'll open a box with their kids. Surging is extremely, extremely desirable for that. And people are going to be tearing these boxes open and they will not last forever. It's £250 now. I made a video not long ago. This channel is not even old. And a month ago, one of my first videos, I was saying Surging is a screaming buy. It was under £200. And here we are a month and a bit later, it's 250. And I think where this box could be in 2 to 5 years, it could be crazy. And I think if you consider yourself a sealed investor and you haven't got any Surging, I really think you need to rethink that. I believe that this set is incredible. It's got an SIR Pikachu. This set is not, oh, sorry, this card has not had its moment in the sun yet, but I believe it will at some point. And there's some also really, really decent cards. There's three very solid chase cards. I would say these are all chases. And having opened some Surging, I've pulled that Executor, I've pulled the Pikachu. I think it's a genuinely really fun set to open. And you've got a few underdog good cards in here. You've got the Ceruledge. That Archaludon actually looks really awesome in person, considering it's just a pretty dull full art. I really, really think Surgeon Sparks is going to age extremely well. People are looking at it now. People are saying it's cheap. People don't want it. I've seen people say this. I've seen people say Surging is cheap because it's not that desirable. It's incorrect. The sell-through rate is there. Surging is cheap because there's so much of it. But if you've been in the Pokemon hobby for more than 10 minutes, you know that things will start off cheap. Look at Chilling Reign. That was £80 a box at one point. Less than that. A few years later, it's £300. A few years later, it's £400. And all of a sudden, everyone wants it. It's desirable. It's scarce. And people need to realize that time heals all. If it's a good set, if it's desirable, and if we continue in this crazy, crazy Pokemon market, Surgeon Sparks, I feel strongly, there's no guarantees in life, but I feel strongly will be far, far more expensive than £250 in 5 years from now. Of course, I always preach having a long-term time horizon. Just imagine where it could be in 10 years. I believe that Surging will be a £1,000 plus booster box given enough time, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that within 5 years. That's just my opinion, not financial advice. You've got to make your own determination. But I think this has to be part of the list as an extremely underrated investment, and it is a part of my holdings and will continue to be for the long term. Moving on to the last but not least product in terms of a very, very solid and underrated investment, and that is the Mega Charizard X UPC. Now, there's some very good sets in here. It captures and covers a very, very good era, the era that we're in right now, and of course, Scarlet and Violet. I really do think, and I need to refresh my brain on what's actually in this set in terms of the packs. So we're going to be able to see it here. So yeah, so we've got a little bit of Scarlet and Violet in there. We've got some Destined. We've got some Phantasmal Flames. Now, when this came out, Phantasmal Flames wasn't flying up in price, but more recently it actually has. Phantasmal has become extremely desirable, and that makes this box even more desirable. Of course, we've got two really, really good promos. It's literally got a Charizard promo in it. And all you've got to do is look to the previous Charizard UPC. Started off very cheap, even considerably cheaper than this for a few years. And it's become very expensive and very desirable. And I see the exact same pattern repeating here. We've got a great selection of packs. The actual box itself as a collectible sealed investment looks absolutely amazing, which makes it very, very, very desirable. And as I say, full of packs, full of good promos. You know, at £180, you've got to think about risk in this world, right? Do you believe that this product in a couple of years is going to be less than £180? I personally see that as very, very unlikely, but you do have to consider that it's quite a bulky box. It's not easy to store this. You might end up having to put it in storage instead of putting it in your wardrobe. You're going to run out of space quite quickly. So there is considerations around that. But if you're looking for something different than the conventional booster box or ETB, I think this is a really, really cool product. And I think at these prices, it's very desirable. In a year's time, I wouldn't be surprised if it's well past the 200 mark, because we just know how quickly things move these days. So that pretty much sums it up, right? I've gone on, I've rambled a little bit. I can see 16 minutes, so hopefully the video I can cut down a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of what I think are the top four, well, kind of five if you include Black Bolt and White Flare, underrated investments right now. Do with that information as you will. You might totally disagree. Let me know in the comments if you do. Do drop a like if you've enjoyed, and click hype if you can. I think as a new channel, you can do that, and it really does help me out. That covers it. Subscribe with the notification bell on if you haven't already and you enjoy this type of content, because lots more is coming soon, and I will catch you in the next one.